Good morning. Welcome to Fallawsophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallaw-Doering, and today we've got some thoughts over coffee. Okay. For those who first, let's go over the Gentel from yesterday. All right. Might be able to see your comments. Yesterday on Real News Live with Mike Barra on Real News Live with Mike and Jen on Rumble. I did a meditation in the morning. And if you missed it, we're just going to review. No, duh. If you missed it, I'm going to do it again. Otherwise, it's review. Banners, where's the Gentel? There it is. Okay. This is interdimensional meditation for July 22nd, 2024 in the morning by Jennifer Fallaw-Doering. I spoke with Jesus, Archangel Michael, and Gabriel. Well, there, I just spoke to Jesus the whole time because when you're real frustrated, just take it to Jesus, okay? So I did my best. On the political, at this point in time, from what I got, it is the cabal's plan for Biden to resign. There's a lot of rumors swirling about whether he'll die or if he is alive or anything. I don't know how they're going to play that out. What I got was it's for him to resign and Kamala takes office. That's the cabal's plan. I don't know if the good guy's plan is to reveal that he's somehow dead, okay? We've got two plans working side by side here. So the cabal's plan is for Biden to resign and Kamala to take office. They get her in there because they know there's no way they can win. There's no way they can win an election with any candidate at this point in time, especially with the outpouring of love after the failed assassination attempt. That flipped a whole bunch of people. So they want to get her in office, and then they want to get her to pass, it says, it enacts and executive orders to make it possible to steal the election. They don't have a pandemic this time. So the only thing that they think they've got is to get her in there quickly and get her to work, passing a bunch of stuff. They want her to usher in Agenda 2030 and the world takeover. Their plan is that we get her in here, we can pass enough stuff, we can steal the election again, and we're on our way. It's our last ditch effort to survive. That is what the bad guys want. What I got is that then they'll kill her off. I mean, sorry, this is Gentel. Let me disclaimer: psychic information. I am not involved in any way in any of these dealings. I do not have any inside sources about anything I'm saying today other than Jesus, okay? Then their plan is she passes away from illness. Or that's what happens. Then we get into what really happens is the military steps in October. Timelines are approximate publicly. There's a change to the election cycle. And new elections under the Republic rules happen. RV news. The RV is proceeding as planned. There was some kind of hold up to wait and see what happens with the whole Biden thing. That's going to affect the stock market. It's going to affect a lot of numbers. And so they're waiting to see what happens with that. They're waiting to see if he resigns. Something with that's going to happen anytime now. Yesterday morning, I felt like it was going to happen like right away, like that day to today, something. Okay. I also saw other rulers falling away or leaving office here and in England and other countries. And they are the remaining opposition to move forward into BRICS, to move forward in Asara Jasara. Okay. So we have a transitional week this week. And the last thing that Jesus said, I said, do you have anything for the people? And he said, remain calm. And he always smiles. And he's just so, just so loving. And when you look at Jesus and he says this, you don't argue. Okay. Remain calm. I am in command. So, also in that show, during the show, when Kamala gets in office and starts with executive orders, the news pushes that anyone questioning her efforts are insurrectionists. And then they will send out the minions that they have flooded the borders with, posing as patriots to create chaos and to back up what they're saying. So that's what I see coming right now. I don't see everything that's coming. That's what I got yesterday. Now, everybody's upset. All right. Last night, a well-known truther came out and did a live, and everybody was a little bit upset, especially the people in my chats. Because we know the sister of the man who died, and I actually have spoken to her personally. And she produced birth certificates and marriage certificates to prove that she is family, that is her brother, and that he died. I think I was upset. Not upset, not mad, not like I'm never listening to this person again, nothing like that. I was just disappointed at a rushed theory. And normally I get disappointed when he says things that piss everybody off or make everybody upset. They come running to me. I'm like, damn it. So let's talk about theories, shall we? I'm going to say, first and foremost, everything is theory. Any prediction? All us human beings running around trying to figure out life and all of its workings and what's real, what's not real, and everything else. It's all theory. Until such time as you get home to heaven and you find out what really happened and what's really true and everything else, it's all theory. And that is influenced by a person's perception, their perspective, the time and the efforts they put into gathering information to support that theory. But in the end, it's all theory. I think us as truthers have been too quick to say it's a movie. What do we know about movies? Well, there's a script. There's a script in a movie. But in a movie, they have many chances to retake that scene. So I think it would be hasty to say that everything is scripted, because it would be more accurate to say it's a play, theater, because in theater it's live. And I don't know if you've ever been to a play. I have. Nothing ever goes exactly the way that it's supposed to. Everybody can memorize their lines and all the costumes and the lighting and get everything right, and everybody's doing their job just right, and The lead walks across the stage and trips over a cord, falls on his face. What do you do then? Ad-lib. Improvisation. The show must go on. You can never predict when it comes to human nature or this physical world and all the factors that come into play what that scene will look like. Now, when it comes to war, many of us are not familiar with the ins and outs of war. We know what we've been told, unless you've been there. And even if you've been there, everybody's got a different level of clearance. Everybody's got a different job. Not everybody knows the whole plan, but there's always a plan. Life, there's always a plan. But human nature involves freedom of choice. And within that, it can be both beautiful and tragic and ridiculous and frustrating and everything else that goes along with experiencing a life and interacting with everything else that has life. Nothing is ensured. Look at a holiday dinner. Okay, I'm going to talk about what I know because that's all I can do, and that's all anybody can do. From my perspective, from my experiences, I compiled information over the years. Now, men, women, everybody, everybody's involved in the family when there's a holiday dinner. Okay? And you can plan that to a T. Everybody RSVPs, everybody's supposed to be there at a certain time. You get up early morning, you got everything in place. You followed the recipes to a T. Everything works out. Making all the food, blah, blah, blah. Everybody shows up, the house is immaculate, and everything's gonna be perfect, right? And then you look in the kitchen, and the cat's licking the turkey. Okay? And then you flip the hell out and you grab the turkey and you go over and like, well, maybe I'll just cut that part out. Don't tell anybody about it. And then you take it over and you trip over the dog and the turkey's on the floor and you're like, 5-second rule? No, it's ruined. Okay, it's ruined. My plan is ruined. I did not anticipate that. I did not think about the animals and their choices and their actions and how that would affect my plan. What do we do now? Pull the frozen lasagnas out of the fridge. That's what you do. Out of the freezer. That's what you do. Give everybody appetizers. What was the main idea? What was the main goal for the dinner? It was to gather. It was to get everyone together to sit down to a meal and have that meal be sufficient. Okay? So you pivot and you change the plan. Okay, it's still basically the same idea, but we're having lasagna now. That is how life goes. And that is how this plan has gone. When you're putting together a theory, you should spend enough time to gather as much information, experiences, people from different perspectives, before you put your theory out there. Sometimes people don't do that. Or sometimes people are so stuck in what they've said before or what they believe to be true, that they cannot allow anything that pops up that sabotages that theory. They can't take that into account. Now, where's my experience from? Life. Spiritual community. There are many theories in the spiritual community, UFO community, which is, not really been involved in, but most spiritual people, psychic people, all different. Everybody has their own way of receiving information. They've got their own areas of expertise. They have their own experience. And there's many that write books that go around and take account of everyone's experience, as many as they can. Can they get everyone's? No. There are people out there who don't believe in ghosts. They believe, some of them may believe that, you die and you go to heaven and you never hear from them again. Why? Because we've been told. Okay. How do you explain the volumes of books and accounts and those who haven't even written it down? You could put 20 people in a room and ask everyone, have you ever had a paranormal experience? Have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever had anything? Half of them will have something. Have you ever had a dream where a loved one visited you? There is more evidence out there to support the theory that the soul lives on and does communicate and has been seen. And there are different levels that they go to. And for someone to rush and come out and say, no, this is the only way. There are no dimensions. There are no ghosts. There are no alternate realities. There are no this or that. Has not gathered enough information to put that theory together. I guess you would have to believe all the stories, and maybe some of the stories are crazy and people having delusions and things like that. But if you were to really study it, if you really look, it would change your mind. People in the spiritual community are open to others, different experiences, different thoughts, and all of that. And because we've heard so many, and we know. Do we know everything? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You and your theories is an accumulation of your experiences, whatever efforts you put in to develop that theory. So I was upset last night initially because it was said that, or suggested, and be fair, he did say, I don't know if somebody really died or not, but it was kind of suggested maybe that the whole thing was scripted. Could there be a chance that the Q posts are an account of what happened last time? Just blew your mind, didn't I? Yeah, there is a chance that is that. Take a look at football. Something we can all relate to. It's kind of like a war. Each side has their plays. But in football, you know who your enemy is. You know who your opponent is. You don't know all their plays. And you have to predict what play they will decide to use for that play. And hope, and everybody in your team knows the play. But it would be irresponsible to assume that every player on that team would execute that play perfectly. because we also have to take in account that we are in a physical life right now, and shoes, joints, the field, the weather, uh, light getting in your eyes, all physical, the way you feel, mental, everything comes into play into executing a plan. Okay, and hopefully your players do a good enough job to get you into the end zone, or to win that game, or to win the season and get to the Super Bowl and win that. Whatever plan there is moving. It's alive. It exists in our physical reality, our collective reality. And within that collective reality, we have players that we are unaware of. Factors and situations that we did not anticipate. So this is not a movie where you can get it exactly the way you want it, because you can retake that scene at any time. This is live action theater that has a basic script, and the other side has a script too. And have they got access to a certain script? An agenda? Yeah. But could the other side's plays, script, agenda change along the way? Absolutely. And could ours? Yes, and it has. And that is the frustration. And that is the delay. And that is everything that we've been living through. So these are real happenings. And along the way, do we have actors? Yeah. Do we have situations that are presented to the public to achieve a certain goal? Yeah. But are there real casualties? Absolutely. And I, in good conscience, cannot embrace a theory that says that if at some point in time the white hats, the good guys, were going to fake an assassination attempt, that they would do it at a rally and take out their own. Now, because people would come say, well, what if that guy was just an actor? And what if he wasn't really shot in the head in the stands? And what if his wife and kids, weren't really left behind, and the rest of his family? Well, that is one theory, but not one that is supported with much information. And I cannot embrace that theory because I know the person who lost her brother. And would those who are doing all of this for humanity, could they have found an arena in which to do it? A situation that would be with less possibility of casualty? Absolutely. Look at when Reagan was shot. What's the scene I remember? I was a kid. I remember that he was getting out of the car or something. I really don't know if they rushed him into the car is what I saw, or if he was getting out of the car. But it was not with thousands of people around. Could you expose some kind of breakdown, infiltration of, you know, the levels of protection in another way? Absolutely. But it'd be much easier to stage an assassination attempt on the golf course or when he's driving by or something like that. Why would they do it when they've got all their biggest supporters and most cherished individuals around? I don't think this was the White House plan. Now, could it have been written, or did they get a heads up that there was traitors within the ranks that were planning this? And Phil received information that, boom, we know they're going to try this? Yeah, that's possible. But to assume the whole thing was fake, I think that's hasty. But we, as a truther community, once again, I was upset. I was upset. I'm okay now. I was a little disappointed because I like him. I was disappointed. But I just feel like maybe he's been really distracted lately. Maybe he's overloaded with work. Maybe he just, everybody wanted something from him and he put things together in maybe a hasty way. And I think a lot of other people did too. But we need to be more of a researcher as a community and not jump to conclusions so quickly. Because there is probably a script, there is probably a plan. Absolutely. But it's a moving plan, more like a war with operations and different scenes and everything else. And we can never predict where the other team's players are. There's no way, logically, in life that you can predict everything that's coming. Not everything. Why? Free will, freedom of choice. And we know this to be true. I mean, you can plan, just like the holiday dinner, you can plan everything to a T. Make sure you've got everything covered for whatever situation it is. Even if it's just a road trip, you got everything figured out. And then all of a sudden, you hit something on the road and you got a flat tire. Throws the whole plan off. All right. Well, we'll figure it out from here. Plan changed a little bit. And a lot of us, even those who, let's talk about sources. Many sources with the best intentions are giving you everything they got. And their sources are giving you everything they've heard. But it is human nature to elaborate, to put the pieces together, even from the sources, and tell you what they think and when is going to happen. One really knows until they get there. So let's not let this turn into another war, shall we? Truther against truther. Now let's understand that everybody's going to give you their theory. From what they know to be true, from what they've heard, from what they've experienced, from what they lived, what they have to have be true, and what they can't stand to be true, and everything else. It's human nature to do this. We don't want to, and you don't want to jump to conclusions. On someone's intentions. Example. Let's say there's a guy who is married, okay? And let's say he works in an office. And there's an unfortunate situation where the woman in the office, the secretary or whatever, walked in on him in the bathroom and he flipped out, turned around with his stuff exposed, and she didn't know how to act. Well, I don't know, something like that. And so somebody walks in and sees that, okay? Somehow it's in a really unfortunate situation. Now rumors start to spread that so and so was caught in the bathroom with his pants down with the secretary. And both sides tell you, oh, no, that's not what it was. It was just really a bad situation. It just really didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. And this gets back to the wife. The wife, knows somebody in the office and said, listen, I really need to tell you, I know this. And she believes it. And she was always jealous and suspecting, jealous that maybe he would be doing something with somebody at the office. And now she believes that her husband, who isn't, is a cheater. Because I've gathered information and I have eyewitness reports. And, well, no, what you got? And the eyewitness report, you got what came through the grapevine, really. Because as the telephone game, as it goes along, they embellish and they tell you what they think, and they put two and two together and they say, this is my theory, and add more information. And now it's back to the wife, and now you've ruined a marriage because somebody walked into the wrong bathroom at the wrong time. That is happening all the time within our community. And we need to take a step back because we are people who gather information and maybe not be so hasty with our conclusions. And maybe remain humble like Jesus told us to. And just wait a little bit. Maybe gather a little bit more information and stay open to anything that is contradictory to your theory. Take a look at your emotions. Sometimes emotion is the reason why people come to theories. Is it influencing you? Can you not consideration anything contradictory to your theory? For whatever reason, and maybe the wife, because you're so insecure that you were jealous the entire marriage, and now it's finally happened. Now you finally got something to prove that you were right. And you won't accept any kind of information from him about what really happened. Could he be telling the truth? Oh, no, because I have to be right. I just knew it all along. You're wrong. And in this situation, wouldn't you rather be wrong? Sometimes people just can't stand to be wrong. So all I'm saying, after getting over the disappointment, yeah, I jumped to the same. Damn it. I was mad. But anybody could get mad about things that I've said or any of my theories. We need to be open to other points of view. And if we see somebody who believes something that we think we know is not true, then we just have to say, well, that's their theory, and that's okay, but I don't agree with it. Done. We used to be able to have different political opinions. I grew up in a family, my mother's side of the family, the grandparents, they were Democrats because they were big on Kennedy. I lived through the Depression. They're really big about services to help people who are less fortunate. And the other side of the family was Republican. So we had a rule. We weren't allowed to talk politics at the table. We weren't, or at the family gatherings. Absolutely not. Because if you did, everybody started fighting. And we also had a rule within the family on all sides, and it used to be accepted that when you went to the polls, we didn't tell anybody who we voted for. That was your private right. And it was kind of rude to ask, who'd you vote for? Well, why don't you ask me what color underwear I'm wearing today? That's how rude it was. So it was like, well, no, I'm not telling you. That's my private right. That's why you got a private booth to go into to vote. And over time, everybody's got their opinion about everything. And everybody wants to know who you voted for, and they're going to condemn you for it, what you believe, and everything else. When we used to have debate classes in school and in college where we were allowed to have different opinions, didn't we? And over time, sorry to say, with the push towards communism from the dark side worldwide, it is no longer okay to form your own opinions or to have contradicting opinions. Let's say Phil and me. I'm sure if we ever met, very likable guy. Okay, let's be mature about this. Okay? But our opinions on what happens after this lifetime and what is really real and what's really not real, and the shape of the earth and everything else is totally different. He has his opinion according to the information that he's gathered. But I have been exposed to a large amount of unexplainable things happening. I have looked spirit in the face. I have looked spirit in the face along with my daughters who saw it too. I have gathered so much information about the different states that a soul can be in, portals to other dimensions. I have a God theory. So I don't really care what shape the earth is. But a theory, see, with all the information I've gathered over a lifetime, I've come to the conclusion, my theory, that everything is infinite. And that we should not put limits on God and his area of creation and experience. So that would be my theory. Okay? According to what I have experienced and I know. So sometimes we come so like for me, the flat earth theory, I'm not on board. Why? Because just a theory that we're in some kind of terranium and up above is heaven and down below is hell just seems too limiting for what I know, what I've experienced, the information I've accumulated. Not just personally, but from books and listening to other people's accounts and everything else worldwide. And it sounds like a human theory that was created to put limits on God. But I'm okay with him having his theory and other people having their theory, and open to the possibility of being wrong. Because of my profession, that's something I've had in the beginning. It was very hard for me. I get very upset. Like I did something wrong. What if I got something wrong? Because why? We have been trained since birth not to do anything wrong. We're graded on it. Okay, this is how many times you did something wrong. You get C, average. You're average. Okay, got half of it wrong. Since day one, society, and we are a product of our society. And until such time as we lift out and we look further and we gather more information to support whatever theory it is, we're going to function that way. So, just to calm the waters today, I'm going to tell you what I know to be true. There is an individual who is the sister of the man who was shot. She presented me with information to prove that she is that person. Do I believe that a man with 2 children and a wife would do a job and take a deal to leave them, and they make them think that he was shot on top of them and leave them with that trauma and go off into witness protection? Doubtful. I don't think the good guys would have chose that guy. I think they would have chose somebody else to do that. Now, let's talk about the shooter. If it was entirely scripted, because of what I do, when I was told, then you can believe me or not, I don't really care. When I was told that by Mike Barra, when I was at the mall, that Trump had been shot, what do? I projected my consciousness to him like I do to give people quickie healings and stuff. And I looked and I saw a hole in the top of the ear that kind of ripped the top of it. There was an actual injury. I was looking for the bullet. I came back. I told Mike, I don't see the bullet. I don't know where'd the bullet go. Okay. I believe there was an actual injury in that ear. I believe there were actual injuries in the crowd. I believe there were really bullets. Okay. That is my theory. Because of what I know and what I've seen and what I've experienced. And this woman coming was highly coincidental that this woman was in my chat. And what had happened, she was commenting in the chat about, oh my God, she's flipping out, freaking out. Since I've emailed with her, and she's a real lady with real pain. Now, in that kind of arena, so much movement, so hard to predict. Now, if Trump, and so what balls of steel would you have to stand up on that podium and know that, okay, we're going to have this sharpshooter just clip you on the ear, okay? With wind and weather and people moving and sounds and anything that could distract him, and people seeing the guy on the roof who could have thrown something to distract him, and if any kind of distraction or miscalculation at all, human error, if he screws up at all, you're going to get shot in the head. Or wear this cap. Hopefully it doesn't hit you in the face. Okay? And we're going to have to take out a couple people in the crowd. That's not a white hat plan. That is not a white hat plan. That is an infiltration in the ranks of levels of protection in these agencies to allow something like that to happen. And for somebody to move just slightly at the right time, there is no sharpshooter that can do that perfectly. If we were aiming for the arm or the leg or whatever, you got to be the best you could be the best marksman in the damn world, and you still can't account for any gust of wind that could come. Do you think they're going to put his life in the hands of someone like that, or that kind of situation? There's so much room for error. No, no. As far as the where are my shoes, I have a theory. I got like 8 minutes. Crap, I only have like 8 minutes till somebody calls me. Why does the time go so fast? All right, I can stop. Theory. Where are my shoes? How old I was like 25 or something. I was living by myself. I had a brand new red Mitsubishi 98 Mitsubishi Eclipse, and I was going to the grocery store to get eggs to go color eggs with my niece, who is a baby, for Easter. And I turned in, and the people going in the park lot slowed down. A drunk driver came barreling out of this apartment complex down the street and slammed right into my front tire. Well, I had a drink in the drink holder, and it went. I must have hit my head on the ceiling, but I was in shock. I got out of the car, and everybody said, "Don't move, don't move, don't move." There were people around. I started walking around, and I just kept asking strangers, "Why am I wet? Why am I wet?" When my husband was killed by a drunk driver, um, and I got to the scene, I kept asking everybody. I didn't cry, and I said, "Why am I crying?" And I said, "What was he wearing? What was he wearing?" For like a week, not like constantly, but like every so often I just ask people, what was he wearing? Good story after that one. I don't have time for that. But he came to my daughter and showed himself to her shortly after that, and she described to me what he was wearing. And 2.5 months later, the autopsy report came, and it was exact. Exact. Explain that. There are more things real than unreal in this physical universe. You have to think about dimensions and lights as a mirror image that goes on and repeats itself over and over and over again. We have to stop putting limits on God and his area for creation. We have to stop believing that our theory is the only one. There is a game plan, there is a playbook. And if it is true that the Q posts are some coded account of what happened last time, then there's something else at play here. And I've always suspected that. And it only gets us to a certain point, and that's where they failed. And this time, they made sure that they did everything correctly so it wouldn't fail again. That's what I received psychically, in a nutshell. But that is just my theory. So let's all remember that we are all on the same team, and that we will all, according to what we've experienced and what we know and what we've accumulated, we will come to our own theories. And maybe not get so emotionally involved when somebody presents a theory that doesn't match ours, and maybe be open to other theories. And maybe start being okay with being wrong. And maybe that will help us in the rest of our life as well. Family and everything else. All right, guys, I got to go. I got 4 minutes, and then I got a full day of readings. But I wanted to get in here and say something about it because, every time somebody does something like that, everybody gets upset. They all come running to me, and I was there too. I didn't stay open to other theories. I was emotionally involved in that one, but I could not embrace that theory because I had information to contradict that theory. So let's all try to remember what Jesus said, that we are all brothers and sisters, and maybe be a little more open to being that way. All right. Love you all. Gotta go. Didn't get to the questions, but I'll be on with Mike tomorrow. Real News Live. It's Mike and Jen on Rumble, 10 a.m. Pacific, 10:05, whatever we get on there. All right. Have a great day. Bye.